was, I think, second. I say Scotty.
I think it was third. Ross was second.
Right. It was definitely third seed. And Scotty got kicked out pretty early in the losers bracket, and he's just been fighting so many battles to get here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losers matches just to get here. That's quite an ordeal, I'd say. But I guess he's making the most of the tournament by hopping into losers early on.
Yeah, losers bracket was full of killers for most of this tournament, much to my dismay.
It's true. It's very true. I think Herc got kicked out early too in the bracket. And who else did we have that ended up in losers bracket pretty early? Shasta is a pretty good player too. That was somewhat early, but I guess it fits his seed for the most part.
Destructor got knocked down pretty early too.
That's true, and Yuri was pretty good too, but he got knocked out too, and I think he died based on what I see on challenge bracket. So there were some pretty strong runners that were in losers bracket pretty early on. But this is what it all comes down to. It's what we've been waiting for all this time. Supreme Champion.
Who's gonna walk away with the W?
You know, my money is on Scotty. My money was on Mickey, but since Mickey is out now, it defaults to Scotty. But I think he has a good chance.
No, he's been playing extremely well.
That's right.
And Pollsmor's been playing well too, but he also has often repeated that he has not been practicing very much. So I don't know if he's just saying that to get everyone's guard down, or if he actually hasn't been practicing much. But
you know, I think it might actually be to get people's guards down. I mean, think about it. What was his last race? He was like never practiced, and then he gets a monster PB or something like that kind. I don't buy it.
Seems iffy.
I don't buy it. Not for 1 second.
And then he misses a jump 3 times. It's all good.
That's a little bit of an embarrassing start. See, the thing about Fusion, I feel like, is that every runner is like... if you synced every single run ever made in Metroid Fusion, the first like 2.5 minutes, just all the good runners, you'd see almost like the exact same movement every time, because it's so standard and it's so ingrained in every runner's muscle memory that there shouldn't really be a big gap here at all. There isn't, but there was some missed jumps and stuff like that ended up making a small difference here.
Yeah, but in the big picture, this early part, unless there's just something something catastrophically wrong, so you die to one of the zombies, perish the thought. I mean, this is really not a good indicator of how the rest of the race is going to go, because we haven't even gotten to the first eye door, and there's so much that can happen in the rest of the race.
For sure. And we have, obviously, I think you guys have probably been talking about in the last race too. Scotty has this secret weapon of drilling into the walls and re-emerging somewhere else.
Yeah, but we also saw right before this race Pollsmor doing the same thing. He's apparently been, at least has more than passing knowledge of how to go out of bounds. So, oh yeah, it could be one of those things where he might surprise us with some out of bounds trickery of his own. I'd definitely be down to see that.
That would be interesting. Do you think he'll go for it personally?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I never know what to expect from Pollsmor, because he's also the person who claimed he could beat me while saving at every single save point in the game.
True.
So, I mean, I never know what to expect from Pollsmor in a completely different way that I never know what to expect from Scotty, so...
Well, I feel like I've gotten an idea of what Scotty is like at this point. The thing is that I'm not sure if it's actually jokingly anymore, but we often tell him that he is super inconsistent. And I don't think he has been for the last many races, honestly.
Pollsmor?
No, Scotty.
Oh, Scotty.
Yes.
Oh gosh, he starts out with a roll on Arachnus, which is bad news for him.
Well, it's a bad start, yeah. Pollsmor got a little more lucky.
Both of them getting double in the sweet spot, though.
It's pretty good. But Pollsmor took the lead again, despite his slightly below average start there.
And it's like we said, I mean, little things make a big difference in this game, but sometimes it can completely be turned on its head by I-beams or just boss patterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and since they're fairly good competitors, and honestly, they're pretty consistent, both of them, at this point, I'd say. We're definitely going to see the torch being passed a few times every time there's an idol or similar.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not out of the realm of the ordinary to expect that there might be a couple of mistakes here or there, but I'm not expecting it to be. I'm expecting to be pretty close to each other throughout.
Mm-hmm. And they're like on the exact same text box right now. It's pretty cool.
That's. Alright, first of all, does Pollsmor grab main deck missile? I know Scotty does. I don't know if Pollsmor does. Okay, he does.
Alright. I mean, I think I'm one of the first advocates of just always grabbing 45 missiles, especially in races, because it just means that like every single boss is almost 100% safe. You're not gonna run out of missiles for just about anything unless you mess up terribly with 45 missiles. And even if you mess up terribly, then you're still better off with 45 missiles.
Yeah. No, there's 45 missiles is one of those things. I think for a lot of people resisted it for a while, but it's really gained a lot of traction recently.
Mm-hmm. It's just so good, man.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't take a lot of misses. It doesn't take a lot of misses at all on either what's his face, Yakuza or Nightmare or anything to suddenly be in a missile deficit, and then you're kind of at the mercy of getting drops from the core, which is always awkward.
Yeah. I guess it's just one of those. It's just a logical extension of like the task does 35, but I mean, you just do what lets you finish runs consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were talking about 35 missiles for actual, real people runs as well for a while, but I don't think anyone really pulled through with it, just because it makes a lot of bosses pretty awkward in terms of gathering missiles during it and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Alright, both of them heading into Sector 1, both head on with 25 missiles. They should not have much trouble here, but they're still going to want to try and stay at full health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we'll see any missile mishaps throughout Sector 1, honestly. Not from these runners, not with 25 missiles.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Scotty seemed to having a slightly better luck with the fog coming out of the room. Pulls ahead there.
Uh-huh. Really? Pollsmor still does the baby method for that room? I'm a little disappointed.
I find it interesting that there's so many different strategies for that room that you see from people of all sorts of levels. Like, I just do the modified 100% strat, because since you have 25 missiles, you might as well.
Right.
But...
Like, I mean, I guess there's a case for doing the baby method if you are really worried about missiles, but I don't think that should be anything to worry about with 25, honestly.
No, not at all. Pollsmor has taken a couple of hits. He's doing all right on missile count, but he's not going to tink too many of them. Otherwise, he could be in a bit of a bind.
Yeah, I don't think he has too much to worry about, honestly. But watch him get like really good R&D on the next idol, and then we'll have a synced race again.
Yeah, we've definitely seen the first two eye doors do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he even got 2 missile drops anyway, so it's not like it mattered.
Yeah. Sector 1 being awfully nice today.
Sure is.
Alright, Scotty, first to the eye door. Let's see how it goes for him.
I think he missed that double. He got the second one anyway, so it doesn't matter.
0 beams, and...
Oh, I was completely wrong. Advantage Scotty for sure.
Pollsmor getting 3 beams from the get-go.
That's 4. That's 5.
Oh no.
6. Alright, Metroid Fusion, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's an excellent We could probably make a montage of things you don't want to see if you want to convince someone to run Metroid Fusion. I think that'll go in the highlight reel.
Yeah, that's a strong competitor for that reel.
Alright, so the difference is kind of massive right now, because that's probably costing more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was a pretty sizable time loss. And he had no control over it too. That's just Fusion.
Yeah.
Thankfully, neither of them will have to worry about getting more than 4 beams for the rest of the eye-doors in the game, because now they have Charge Beam.
So when someone is on commentary, you don't want to see them push their own agenda, but I feel like in this case, I have to. There is, in the Japanese version, an easy mode, where like all of that RNG is removed. So if you actually want to run Fusion, and a good category, then you should join the easy movement. Where we take it easy, man. It's just so much more fun. Anyway, besides the point, we have Charge Beam, like you said, and it's super good, and it kills everything. It's the best.
Yeah, this game makes you think missiles are great, and then it just gives you the Charge Beam, which is just extremely good.
It's a little too good, if you ask me. Mostly because, at least later on, missiles are kind of relegated to a sort of utility role. You don't really use it to kill enemies as much.
Yeah, once you get ice missiles, missiles become pure utility because they're just not useful at taking out enemies quickly anymore.
Righto. Charge Beam is definitely really good at taking out things fast.
Yeah.
And it just gets better and better. I said this last time I commentated as well, but if you're one of those people that like to take breaks as you're watching a tournament race, every time they hit an elevator, that's an excellent choice. Because the elevator sections are pretty long, and we're going to see quite a few of them.
Yeah, anytime you hear the sad sound of an elevator, that's your cue to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. They even sound bored, right?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, every other elevator just has like a mechanical sound. The ones in Fusion are just kind of like, oh.
Yeah. I never thought about that. That's a good point. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of downtime in the run, but I guess it gives you a little time to think about what's coming up. And then there are people like me who, I don't think, if the main deck didn't have those flashing lights pointing to wherever you needed to go, I would probably just forget every time I hit an elevator. Thank God for those flashing lights.
Yeah, those are really handy. I've gotten disoriented before.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think my personal favorite is still when you're running through the recharge room heading into a sector, you're like, shoot, which sector am I in? That's
something I do very often too. It's like, and like for almost every sector, there's something you need to do immediately in the first room you enter. Like you need to jump, or you need to shoot something, or you need to keep running, or something. And if you miss, like if you're not aware of it when you're running into the room, you're probably gonna mess it up.
Yeah. And especially early on, like in Sector 2 here, you have to be on top of what you need to be doing, because
right.
Ooh, Pollsmor hugging one of the Zoros. You saw what that did to his health. They are not nice.
Nope. I think he's fine though. I can't imagine he'll hit too many of them at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah, but oh.
Opening the that's level 1.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even remember what they're called.
I just go by color. I don't even go by level.
Alright. The blue doors.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And your reward for unlocking the blue doors are the missiles, the bombs, and they're terrible.
Yeah, they're not great. That's alright.
Okay, I guess they have their uses from time to time, but they're not nearly as good as zero-mission bombs.
They're not, like, I mean, I can't even think of too many games that have worse bombs than Fusion.
Yeah,
trying really hard to think of any, but I can't.
Yeah, just the blast radius is small, the fuse is too long, it's just, they're good for blowing up blocks, and that's about it. There's one spot in Hundo where they're useful for doing a shortcut, maybe, in Sector 6, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. they're making their way to the next boss, which also has a lot of RNG. So we might see Pollsmor catching up a little bit. But for the sake of wanting a close race, that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Well, he's going to get back a little bit of time as well, because I'm pretty sure Pollsmor does 3 E-tanks, and I know Scotty grabs the E-tank right before the next boss.
You mean 2 or 3, actually?
Oh, does Pollsmor only do 2 E-tanks?
So when you say E-tanks, you mean extras, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because some people go like 3 E-tanks, and then that's 300 energy, but it's actually, 2 E-tanks.
Okay. Let me rephrase
Just
that.
wanted to make sure. But
Yeah,
you're right that I think Scotty grabs this one before the boss, because he grabs a lot compared to other runners, making him extra safe for everything.
Yeah, which I can appreciate, because his way he puts it, he takes too much damage to not want to grab that extra energy tank, which he did right there, and that's pretty. I do the same thing. So
he got 0 beams.
Woo!
Did you see that? He got 0 beams.
And Pollsmor also got the swag missile, getting that 1-frame trick to save no time whatsoever.
Oh, this is so unfair. I'm almost kind of sad for Pollsmor. Almost.
He gets 1 beam, so that's not too bad. But Scotty's getting a lot of jumps, looks like.
If you want to keep count, you should do that. I'm not.
I already lost count, so...
I don't enjoy keeping count of this boss. I just like to pretend it's not there.
But basically, if you see it jumping around a lot, then that's bad. Congratulations, that's all you need to know.
Scotty's done. I think he might catch up a little bit, Pollsmor. I'm not completely sure. Damn, that was like borderline double on the last hit there for Scotty.
I think Pollsmor may have gained back a little bit of time, but not a lot. But still.
It's hard to tell at this point. I guess maybe not really. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, no, I usually like doing like just basic time checks on exiting a sector, so I'll just do that.
Sure thing.
All right, now I'm pretty sure everyone agreed that there was going to be no sack skip here, even though Scotty was tempted to, and thankfully he is not following through on that temptation.
So pretty much everyone, I think, is doing like a modified setup for SAX skip at this point. So there's been a lot of different ways of doing it, I suppose. There's the OG one, I think. That might have been the OG one. I'm not completely sure, but that was like a very specific spring ball setup that was, I think, people consider to be the fastest. It's really hard and it's very precise. And then there's other people have like made really kind of slower setups that are a little more safe, but still not really consistent by any means. And then it's kind of a new setup where you just kind of morph and hold the A button as you land. But it's really, really, like, you have to morph it at a very specific time and hold left at a very specific time, I think. So there's been different ways of doing the SAX skip. But I mean, if you mess any of them up, they all result in death. So good on them for not going for it.
Yeah, it's very much not a race strat.
As we so clearly saw in the last race.
Yeah.
Speaking of people foolishly going for it, you could say, Pollsmor was one of the ones who went for it in, I think, the first Fusion 80% tournament, and he actually went into losers pretty early, I think, but
wow.
fought himself all the way back from losers because he wanted to do sack skip, but failed it.
Okay, and it looks like Pollsmor is about 19 seconds behind Scotty, it seems.
Damn, that's a lot this early on.
It is. Well, let's see how things start going in Sector 4. Sector 4 is usually where movement can start falling apart if people start playing sloppy. I'm not expecting that from either of these two, but I've seen that in other races.
You're right. I mean, 3/4 of that, the time he's behind, is probably just from that one idol where he got like 6 additional beams.
Oh, that was... God, that eye door.
Oh, that was great. Good stuff, Fusion.
Metroid Fusion just having a big ol' laugh right now.
I think I saw someone argue once that because there's so much RNG in Fusion, it always averages out. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works. I mean, yes, of course it averages out, but like in practice, it's gonna mess you up a lot.
Yeah, averaging it out is a small consolation when when your best runs gets one of the worst RNGs. I mean,
right.
Unless you're playing exactly the same every time, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. And like sometimes you'll get like a great personal best, and it's just full of really good RNG, and then you're running against that, and then it's just going to be even worse every time, right? You might play better, but it might end up worse.
That's the worst. Just imagine, just especially at the start of the boss con, you get a 0 beam 1 cycle Yakuza or something like that, and you're just like, man, I got to go against that from here on out.
Yep, that's always fun. Like when I got my very last Fusion 100% PB, I think I had like mostly average luck everywhere, probably a little below in some places, and then I just had a monster run where like got amazing luck, and fortunately I clutched it out to the end. But imagine if I just like messed up something really bad at that point, and I would probably never see a run that good again, probably, unless I grinded a lot.
Alright, Sky's the first one to make it to Ceres. Let's see if he can pull off the 2 cycle.
Did you see the amount of beams? I'm kind of curious now.
I didn't. I think it was 1, maybe?
I don't think it was too many, at any rate.
Oh, Scotty did miss the setup to get the second hit. But he
yeah, it was not too bad.
Yeah.
Pollsmor got 1 beam. Probably gonna repeat a similar fight, maybe?
Scotty getting the 2 doubles in the sweet spot. Good core fight. Let's see if Pollsmor should have a good setup here for the second hit.
Yeah, that's the easy pattern. I love that one.
Yeah.
Just gives you so much time to react.
Yeah. He didn't get that first double, though. That's alright. It takes 5 missiles, so he has backups. There he goes.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's a little, like, if you had to do a double on the last hit, then it gets a little harder to get the perfect sweet spot, costing you a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh, Scotty accidentally not firing a missile there.
Good reaction, though. I feel like a lot of people mess up if they hit that enemy. To the point where they might fall into the water. That's just really bad news.
Yeah, that happens to me more than I care about. And actually, Scotty has been keeping track of his own beams and pointing out to us that he's actually gotten no beams yet.
I don't think that's true. Actually, it might be. Come to think of it.
The only one I didnn't see was the Ceres door, and so if he got no beams there, then he hasn't.
Yeah, I'll take his word for it. It's nutty. It's pretty nutty. It's pretty like very low chance to get 2 beams at this point.
And he gets the low height coming out. That's so nice. He had a great sector 4. Scotty's had a great sector 4. And Pollsmor going for the diagonal strat there. I remember hearing that the diagonal is not actually faster than the just going horizontally across that room. I'm not sure.
It's one person's word versus the others, because one person used to say the diagonal was faster, now someone else timed it and claimed the other method was faster. I'm not really sure. I kind of want to see it side by side before I trust anything.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things where the time difference is very, very small. You're not going to lose a minute of time trying to get a PB just because you go for one over the other.
Definitely not.
Yeah, this thing about Fusion, it's a long game and it's very linear, and a lot of the strats that are improvements are very, very small improvements. I mean, if you do them all, yeah, you'll save a fair bit of time over the run, but going for a 1 slower strat versus 1 faster strat is not going to make a world of difference.
It's definitely not. Like, it's fun to think about because a lot of people go, like, if you save, like, more than... Like, if we save, like, 2 seconds somewhere doing something, people go nuts because that's a lot of comparative time save in a very optimized game like Fusion. But then we actually got all these out-of-bounds stuff recently, and those count for several, like, seconds of time save, but no one really went nuts over those, and I guess it's because it's just so different, and it requires you to play on a specific version, which makes some people a little reluctant to go for them, especially when the Japanese version is usually the preferred one to play on, but doesn't have the out-of-bounds stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's probably the biggest reason why. Because, I mean, I don't know, I've always played on English version, it's the only cartridge I have, but since so many people prefer the Japanese because of it's just RTA faster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can only speak from my own perspective, but the reason I vastly prefer the Japanese version is that there's so much resetting early on because of the large amounts of RNG in the first 10 or so minutes, and there's just so much text early on too. So I think, like, suppose you reset the first eye door like a lot of times. I think just the time it takes to get to the first eye door in the Japanese version compared to the English version is something like 30 seconds or something ridiculous. So that saves a lot of time on resets, obviously.
Yeah.
Hey, it's green doors.
Yeah, and actually I'm surprised Scotty actually went for the high horizontal shine spark. I'd actually been seeing him do a different strat where he just runs along the floor and just does a single along the ground shine spark to avoid doing the bonk animation. So I'm surprised he just went for the classic horizontal.
Might be playing it a little safer, I suppose. There's the shine break to the shine spark up the shaft there. That's pretty good. Saves half a second, I think.
Yep, that's my numbers. That's a number as far as I know.
Usually saying half a second is fairly safe because that's what most of them are.
Yeah, it's like Eagle said. I mean, if something saves more than a second, it's a big deal because most of the time saves in this game are less than a second, way less than a second.
It feels a lot slower though. Like we just saw Pollsmor climb all the way up, and it just looks so slow.
But it's those animations. Those animations take so long that makes the entire difference.
All right. Does Scotty get that? He doesn't. Doesn't get the data spike.
But he's not at full health though, heading into the box fight. So I'm not expecting to have any trouble with the fight. But his strat is definitely the more dangerous strat.
Pollsmor looks good to get data spike, I think. Scotty showing off. Oh, Pollsmor didn't get it either. That's bad.
Woo! Scotty getting the perfect
fight.
Yeah. Nice.
That's super fast. I really should learn that too.
I actually practiced it for I think 2 hours one night. It is not easy.
Oh, okay. I can believe it. But I think the funny thing is that particular strat was sort of sparked from the idea that we had to do box differently in easy mode because he takes less hits in easy mode, so it was faster to just use a different strat compared to the normal, compared to the one we use in normal mode. But then it turns out you can kind of do the same thing in normal mode. It's just kind of difficult, but it's faster. So I mean, it's something to go for.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Speaking of easy mode strats, I've kind of been bugging people on and off to make a compilation of all the easy mode specific strats because I think both Scotty and Ross and some other people maybe ended up finding a bunch of things that you could do differently in easy mode that'd be faster, but it was just never documented anyway.
Huh.
And both box fights were definitely one of them. Does Samus suspect anything? I think the answer is yes, maybe.
Hard to say. She doesn't. She doesn't talk about that stuff much. She's too busy thinking about Adam.
Yeah, I guess she got other things on her mind.
All right. So now both of them heading into Sector 6, the Nocturnal Sector, which is more purple than dark.
Oh boy, it's Sector 6. This is like one of the most straightforward sectors, honestly. The more I think about it, the more I realize that this is like probably one of the easiest sectors to play. Like there's no really complicated movement or anything throughout the entire thing. It's just kind of moving forward all the way to the boss. Then there's some waiting too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of spots where you can go faster and it's a bit trickier, but there's very little that can go catastrophically wrong unless you're just I don't know, trying to play with one hand maybe.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I saw it mentioned in the chat, so I guess we can repeat it. This is Grand Finals, but it's Pollsmor is coming from the winner's side of the bracket, and Scotty is coming from the loser's side. It's best of 3, I guess you could say, with Pollsmor being up 1. So if Pollsmor wins here, he wins the entire tournament. If Scotty wins, there's going to be one more match, but it will not be today. It'll be next week instead. And right now it's looking like we might have something to look forward to next weekend as well. If Scotty keeps it up anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. There's still a lot of this run left. And let's see if Scotty can get his fancy strat here, because he didn't get it the last time. He almost had a bit of an exact disaster.
That looks I've seen it before. Okay. I guess he's pretty consistent at it, huh? It looks so dangerous.
It does. Well, it's basically, if the sax for whatever reason does not aim where you expect it to aim, you're done.
I wonder if that if that particular trick also might influence his decision to get more E-tanks than average.
I don't know, because I mean, considering how much damage the sax does, you're probably done regardless. But oh, Scotty got a beam.
Too bad. Not gonna see the 0 beams throughout.
Oh well. And again, Scotty having a little bit of trouble getting the Giant Core X, having it not stay on the right, but he gets it in the 4 cycles, and gets that first double.
And that was an impressive first double too. That's kind of hard when it's so high up. Oh, I missed the last one. Pollsmor getting 0 beams. Nice.
And with that, Scotty now has the Various suit. I am so sorry. And Pollsmor about to face off against the... God, Giant Core X is just not playing nice with anybody today, it seems.
Oh, is this one of those bosses where Pollsmor can't press the L button? Because it looks like every time he's trying to hit the core, he's shooting either straight up or straight ahead. I think most people go for like a diagonal upshot, but it looks like he's not doing that.
Oh, you're right. That's right. Because Pollsmor plays keyboard and he can't hold down all the buttons at once.
Yeah, strange handicap, but I mean it's on him.
Yeah, and he's made it work. Goodness knows that we can't deny that Pollsmor has made it work very well.
Right. There's a lot of things to be said for using different kinds of controllers for specific things. Keyboard, I guess, has the advantage that I think is kind of unethical if we're really going into that kind of sort of thing. Not that I really care too much, honestly, because I think it's mostly going to be the same, but it has the advantage of, like, if you have 4 different buttons for directions instead of a classic D-pad, which you can't really press 2 directions at once on a D-pad.
Right.
But you can on a keyboard. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, but I guess, like, theoretically it's faster to go from one extreme to the other. Like, if you have to press left or right and alternate it pretty fast, and it's faster if you have different buttons as opposed to having to let go of one and switch to the other. It really doesn't matter for the purpose of this tournament or in general, which is why there's no ban or anything. But it is fun to think about, at least I think so.
Yeah. Oh no, he can wiggle out of Yakuza's grip faster.
See, that's kind of strange because I don't think Pollsmor does that particularly fast or anything comparatively, which is like the one instance where you might see it kind of mattering. It's weird. That's off the top of my head anyway. I admittedly more run Fusion in quite a while.
Yeah, I can't think of any other situations off the top of my head either. Alright, Pollsmor leaving Sector 6 while Scotty entering Sector 5.
Pretty much a sector ahead at this point. Did you count the time apart they were?
I did not.
That's fine.
I can do it on the door leaving the data room. Scotty did it at 34:25. We'll see when Pollsmor does it.
Alright. I think the gap has widened a little, actually. So I think it's extremely likely we'll have to see another grand final match next week, unless something catastrophic happens. I won't deny that might happen, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Pollsmor pointing out to us that he actually could break out of Yakuza instantly if he turned on L+R, but I guess he turned that off as I guess it was as a good faith gesture.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm not even sure how emulators work. That's how unenlightened I am.
I mean, I have passing knowledge of BizHawk because I used it for practice briefly, but right. I mean... And it looks like he got out of the... Pollsmor went through the door at 35:09, so it looks like he's, looks like a good... over 40 seconds off now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, 40 seconds. That's huge. I actually thought it was less than that, but wow. Scotty's really pushing that lead. I think he's just played better overall, honestly. I don't think it's... Like, at the beginning it was definitely RNG, but at this point I think it's just Pollsmor kind of bombing the movement, and Scotty's playing extremely well.
Yeah, I actually noticed during leaving Sector 2, the one climb right after the sax room, Pollsmor was pausing after the jumps. I'm not sure what was up, but I mean... I think it's exactly what you said. Just Scotty is just... His movement is super clean. Pollsmor's playing clean, but just that little tiny bit less clean, and that's making the difference.
I mean, look at his health. Something obviously went wrong somewhere.
The waivers, I guess.
Yeah, he hit a lot of things all over the place. I don't think he's in any danger personally, but it's like every time you get hit, you kind of get pushed back a little bit and it just slows you down.
Yeah, the big downside now is that he's not going to get a red X until emergency, and in emergency, if things start going wrong in emergency, you can take a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. I'd be surprised if we saw a death, but I mean, it's not unlikely for Pollsmor to bomb in the grand finals match. So I think this is the first time he has the advantage of being in the winner's side, right? Am I right? I think he was in losers in everything else.
Was he?
I think so.
I don't know. For some reason, I always remember him just being in winner's bracket more often than not. But then again, you'd know about this more than I would.
Like for Zero Mission 100% and any percent, I'm sure I was in winners there. I don't remember Fusion any percent, but I think I was in winners there too. I can't remember actually losing to anyone in that one. In Fusion 100% tournament, I think he might have been in winners, because I think I fought Scotty in losers. Alright, yeah, Pollsmor might have been in winners for the Fusion 100% one. But here he is in winners. So he gets an additional chance, even if this is not shaping up to be a great run.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Emergency was a bit rough for both parties involved last race, so let's see if it goes better for him.
Oh, interesting. Does Scotty have a weakness? I think he said he has a weakness in the sense that he's been playing a lot of... I'm not sure if it really applies today or not, but he's been playing a lot of memory corruption, and that ends 25 minutes earlier than any percent no memory corruption, so he might not have the same experience.
Actually, Scott makes a valid point that that Fusion Hundo was not double elimination. That's right, it was actually Swiss.
Oh yeah.
I remember because I made it to top 8, and my first opponent was Pollsmor, who pounded me into the ground pretty hard.
Man, I don't even remember playing it out that way. Let me see. I kind of have to go back and see how it was played out now. Yeah, it was Swiss, and I lost one match. Right, so he's never been in winners before, technically.
Oh, okay.
That's right. I kind of forgot we did that. That took a while, huh?
Yeah. It was a fun tournament, though. I remember enjoying it.
It was. But Fusion 100% is like an extremely long category, at least for my standards. I'm the kind of guy who would like my runs to be like 40, 50 minutes at most. So Fusion 80% is already kind of long, but Fusion 100% is like almost 2 hours. It's like an hour 40-something minutes.
Yeah, it's a long category, and all the really interesting stuff happens at the end too.
Yeah. That's like the best part of playing 100%. It's that cleanup is probably the best part of Fusion, honestly. So good.
All right, Scotty actually making good time through emergency, it seems. And let's see how the door goes. Oh no, a beam!
We just adding to that beam count. He's like doubled his amount of beams just on this door alone.
The 447 door time, though, is still a very good door time.
It sure is. I don't think he's complaining too hard about it.
Oh no! He didn't get the second double.
Good try, though. It looked like he got it to me, but I guess he didn't.
Looks like a 431.
Still pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, anything above a 430 is a good emergency time.
Pollsmor looking pretty clean throughout emergency here as well.
We say that and he immediately remarks about choking, so... Oh, he gets 0 beams.
Nice.
And also a 447 door time.
That was one double. That was not... That's strange that people are getting the first double but not getting the second one. I've always said that, like, I think the first double on that core is like the hardest, but the second one is basically free because you can just kind of... I feel like regardless of how you set up on the left wall, you'll always get it.
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. The first one is a little, you have to worry about more things. The second one, just as long as it's in the right spot and you're in the right horizontal spot, it just kind of works.
It'd be interesting to see how lenient that is, because it feels extremely lenient. What sector are they going to now? See, this is where I start to get confused. Is it main deck? Right. I was about to suggest Sector 5, but I guess that's a little too early.
Well, there's a lot of... I mean, the next sector they're going to is 5. They're just going to main deck first.
Right. There's a lot of... This is kind of where it's all a blur to me. Even when I'm actually playing the game, it's kind of a blur at this point, because you're just kind of going back and forth a lot between the same areas. It feels like.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good thing you have the flashing lights, or in this case, no flashing lights means go to the main deck.
Oh, the flashing lights. See, that no flashing light has gotten me confused before. I'm like pretty sure. I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna check where I'm going. Oh none of the lights are flashing. Where the hell am I going?
Need to go back to the ship and ask Adam what's going on.
Yeah. I'm sure these runners wouldn't make that kind of mistake.
I sure hope not.
Uh-huh.
On the way back up to the habitation deck, they gotta save some animals. They're up there. I know Scotty does the what we colloquially call the impossible strat. I think Pollsmor just does. Does he also do impossible strat? I don't know.
He might have. What is Scotty doing?
Scotty just got lonely. He wanted to hear Adam's voice. It's okay.
He got lost.
I need a reminder where I need to go.
It's a good one. I'm sure everyone's run through a navigation and just stopped out of habit because the game constantly tells you to stop.
Yeah.
And then there are like 3 places, I think, 3-4 places where you're just kind of running through without stopping. And sometimes, you get confused. You think you're supposed to stop, but you're not.
Yeah, you're right there during emergency and like right near the end. I'm pretty sure I've stopped at all of those times at one point or another. It just happens. You just don't think about it. That's the thing. A game that's as heavily reliant on muscle memory as Metroid Fusion is, and you pass through a lot of the same rooms at different times, it's very easy just to get confused. It's also why Sector 5 can be dangerous for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like, everyone's either pulled a secret key or is going to pull one at some point. Just kind of an inevitable part of a running Metroid Fusion.
Right, for sure. And it's happened in tournament too. Oh, come on, Pollsmor. You're better than this. You're better than this, Pollsmor. That's embarrassing.
I will say that jump extend can be a bit deceptive, because you have to really jump off the wall at the highest point, and just otherwise you're not going to make it.
One thing that at least made it way more consistent for me was you only shoot to jump extend at like the highest point of your jump, because I think I did it too early before that. I used to have trouble with it too.
Really?
But being mindful of shooting late, like at the top of your jump, really helped me at least.
Interesting. I always thought it was just jump extending at the last moment before you grab the ledge, because I didn't realize it had to be.
I think those two might go hand in hand, honestly. so there's probably something about that. But
Yeah.
definitely, like I just look at my jump height now when I'm doing that trick.
Yeah, it feels like as long as you do it after the apex of the jump, you're fine.
Right. Excuse me.
No worries. Now, everyone, please stop looking at Pollsmor's screen for a moment, so you don't have to look at that horrible suit.
Oh, it's pretty bad, huh?
I'm not entirely sure. Somebody got paid money to come up with this color scheme.
It's true. I think they said, like, I've read some developer interviews on Metroid Fusion. I think that one thing they wanted to do with this game was mix it up, and I think they did. And that's probably the decision why they went with blue as opposed to the standard red when you're starting out.
Yeah.
But they really missed the mark here with that suit.
Yeah. No, I mean, at first, I actually like the design of Fusion. It's different, but it's still recognizably Metroid. And
Sure.
I kind of like the blue-yellow. So, I mean, I don't hate the Fusion suit, but I mean, just the Varia color scheme is just,
Yeah, it's not great. We have a lot of nicknames for that suit.
Yeah, mustard suit.
Puke suit is a good one, too.
Oh, I never heard that one.
You never heard anyone call it puke? Is Pollsmor skipping that missile? I guess so.
Is he just going for 35 missiles?
He grabbed the main deck one,
that's right,
so I think
he
it should still be 40. But I guess it's a bold move. Let's see if it pans out for him.
Yeah, because normally one of the reasons you'd even grab the 45 is to make Notori easier, but that's not until he hasn't even gotten to that fight yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's also having issues with the elevators.
A little bit.
The funny thing about elevators in this game is that I think they're honestly pretty lenient in terms of the large amount of space you have to press up or down to go down. But the problem is that you can't just do it out of a run. So a lot of the time you have to like find specific ways to slow down immediately, and you can kind of like jump from a distance onto the elevator and just be really good at hitting the mark, or you can kind of do a jump shoot right as you hit the elevator and just go down immediately. And I think they're equally fast, but
yeah.
it's I'm sure runners consistently miss at least like a couple of elevators during the run.
Yeah, that one's a bit less consistent. I think JRP is probably the most consistent at that I've seen.
That would make sense, considering he's the one who's run by far the most, I think.
Yeah.
They both got power bumps, and hopefully not going to do another round here.
Oh, please, I hope not.
Yeah.
And Pollsmor's also got to be a little bit careful, because his, the Sax here can kill him with the ice beam. He should be fine. I mean, this is not a common death we see, but it does over 200 damage with an ice beam hit, so you gotta be mindful of that.
I think I've seen people in tournament die to that particular shot. It happens. It's pretty funny when it happens, but it happens.
But yeah, it's because the Sax is one of those things where when you first play this game casually, the Sax is scary, and then when you start speedrunning it, it kind of becomes a joke because you realize how terrible its AI is. Right. At least until you die to it in the weirdest ways, at which point you're just like, wow, the Sax is still really dangerous. I just didn't think about it.
Jeez, Pollsmor's looking really clumsy right now. It must be a mental block, man. Every time he's right there in grand finals, everything short circuits. It's pretty funny.
Scotty's telling me that the Sax does 200 damage. I thought it was 230. I must be thinking of something else, but I have no reason to doubt Scotty. He knows a lot about this game with exact numbers, surprisingly. Alright, Scotty coming up on the spitter hallway. Let's see how that goes for him.
I think my suggestion to Pollsmor after this race is that he should practice mentally for this particular rematch because it just like he looks so helpless out there, and it's rare to see Pollsmor looking so helpless. He got through the spit tunnel though, Scotty. That's good.
Yeah, he got hit once, but it was early on. It was no problem.
Mm-hmm. So if you get hit a bunch of times in that tunnel, you're kind of forced to grab the missile. I guess not forced, but you may as well grab it because you're already passing by it at that point.
I don't think it's actually possible to skip it because it's you only have one block above it.
I mean, I guess you could go back and maybe you could probably, if you really wanted to, you could bomb over it, maybe.
I don't know.
But
Pollsmor's opting to grab this missile.
I see. I guess it's because he forgot earlier or something.
I don't know, because Ross does the same thing actually. He doesn't grab the main deck missile, but he grabs that one.
Mm-hmm. I guess that makes sense. I think that one is slightly faster off the top of my head.
And neither of them taking the ship save, which is something I'm a strong proponent of in races. Because that is the least time lossy save of the entire run, and it's right before a spot where deaths may very well happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be real, they're not gonna save, I don't think.
Yeah, but neither of them did.
Mm-hmm. There's all the beams. Scotty's getting getting all the beams he didn't get earlier.
Yep. Now let's see how Yakuza treats him, because he got the one cycle last time. Let's see if we can repeat that. No such luck.
Scotty getting grabbed real high by Yakuza, which is not really a problem, except you can't see if he actually opens his mouth. You kind of have to preemptively shoot and see if they think or not. Yeah. I think someone once told me that if you get grabbed too high, then it doesn't actually count for skipping around.
Really?
Yakuza, and that's obviously false, as evidenced by Scotty constantly doing this and not having any issues with it. But I can't remember who told me, but I'm like really resentful towards that person because I've always like let him go really far down because I thought it didn't count. Unless... Oh geez, Scotty.
Out of missiles.
So what Scotty was doing is that he was trying to get doubles on that second part of Yakuza, which is something you can do and it saves a little bit of time. But he missed a lot of missiles. I kind of saw him miss a lot of missiles out of the corner of my eye. And yeah, he had to farm a few at the end there. It kind of worked out, but it was still a pretty slow fight for him. Let's see what Pollsmor does.
I think he got a 3 or 4 cycle there. He did not get a quick phase 1.
No. I mean, that's Yakuza for you.
Yeah, and he's also having some trouble. Yakuza just being stubborn, and he's also taking quite a few hits.
I think he is fine for damage. I guess that was an alright second phase for the most part. I guess he maybe caught up a little bit to Scotty here.
He gained back some time, it feels like, because he's also had the better core fight. Scotty has had a lot of trouble with that core fight, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was way better.
So I'll do a time check on re-entering Sector 2.
Sure thing.
5310 for Scotty. For those of you who might just be joining us, a little bit of a refresher. This is the grand finals of the Metroid Fusion Any Percent Tournament. Pollsmor coming in from winner's bracket, he has to win this race. Scotty, coming in from losers, has to win this race and one more in order to clinch it. Now, Scotty about to do his fancy ice clip here. Just like that, through the door.
Nice one. So we've known about that for a while. There was a setup, but it was kind of, I want to say, inconsistent. It probably wasn't, but it was pretty slow at least compared to what Scotty did right there. So he kind of found that setup on his own, a really fast way of doing that one, and it skips so many rooms. So in a race setting, that's like gold. Like, you struck gold with that particular clip.
Yeah, and incidentally, Pollsmor passed through 37 seconds behind Scotty, so he has gained back some time. Oh, Pollsmor's going for the clip as well. And he gets it!
Nice.
Nice!
That's what I want to see.
Oh, yes, that was good. That was real good.
That is definitely what I want to see. Okay. I'm glad they're playing on an even playing field then.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't do that clip, you have to go through like 4 doors or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous and a long ass room.
Yeah, it's over 10 seconds RTA that you're losing.
Sure, over 10 seconds. Scotty also got the nice little. If you shine spark up there, and if you do like if you shine spark the first possible moment you can, right as you pass through the top of the little indent, then you'll get damage boosted by that enemy, so you don't have to sit through the bonk animation for your shine spark. And he got it, so that's nice.
All right, so Pollsmor had a really good Notori fight, and apparently he's actually ahead of his PB here, but I guess this is his English PB, so it's not the best, and so I don't know how close it is to his his actual PB.
Well, if you start doing that clip and you didn't do before, well, you're going to save a lot of time. Yeah. So it might not be ahead of his personal best in in-game time, but it's definitely going to show on your splits that you just saved a boatload of time.
You see those double reds that Pollsmor just got there?
It's not as unusual to get double reds as you might think. I'm not completely sure on it, but like there is a thing, definitely a thing where like if you get one red, you also always get the second one.
Oh,
I'm not completely sure what it is, but I've definitely seen too many double red X, even in my own runs, to think that it's just hitting 1% chances or whatever it is. I think it's actually lower. I forget.
Possibly. All I know is that you just kind of you killed the magic for me a bit, Eagle.
Sorry, but like that, I'm like 90% sure there's a reasonable explanation for getting double red exit.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't surprise you, but I don't know. I guess I've never seen a red X and something else come off one of those before, so.
There was a discussion about it at some point, and there are like some enemies like that one that drops 2 can have only one of them be red X. And I'm not sure like what causes both of them to be red X's, but I'm sure there's like some sort of logical explanation other than you just happen to hit 2 red X's by chance.
Yeah. All right, Scotty heading into Sector 5 for the last time, pulling off the most important Shine Spark of the run. Now, I'm curious to see if Pollsmor is going to actually go for the Nightmare Space boost, because it's Can we kind of say that it's his trademark thing now? Because he's pretty much the only one who does it and runs.
See, it used to be, but we kind of discovered that it kind of sucks. but he's doing it. Okay, I guess respect. Like people thought it saved a lot of time if you got all the way to the end, which Pollsmor didn't do there, but it was a valiant attempt. People thought it saved like 5 seconds or something if you got it all the way to the room Pollsmor is right now. But it actually saves like a minuscule amount of time, like half a second, if you make it all the way to the end, or something like that. I think people found out. So it's not as good as people thought.
No, but it's definitely is an absolute swag trick, because it is extremely difficult to do. So you
I guess
pull it off the entire way. It's
I guess good on him for doing his signature move for the fans, right, Pollsmor?
Meanwhile, Scotty taking out some aggressions on a kitchen appliance here. Someone put the
appliance.
It looks like a microwave.
Does it? I kind of thought it looked like a sideways sink with like a lot of gunk coming out of it.
I don't. Maybe. I don't know what your sink looks like, but I really hope mine never looks like that.
Well, like if you kind of put it sideways and there's a lot of gunk flowing out, never mind. Scotty was struggling a little bit with the with setting it up there, but I think he managed okay. Not the best Nightmare fight, but it's still an alright one.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about that phase of Nightmare is you hope that it's following you so you can kind of guide it around, but if Nightmare is following the invisible dot, then you just kind of have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Looks pretty good for Pollsmor.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent Nightmare fight. Doesn't get that first double, though.
I don't think people agree with the whole comparing Nightmare to kitchen appliances, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I used to run a chat poll. What do you think it looks like? And I heard all sorts of things, but a lot of them did involve kitchen appliances. So it's not just me.
I see. Well, I guess there must be something something to it then.
I don't know.
As a side note, I kind of saw it recently what it looked like in Other M. I have Other M, but I've never actually finished it. And I saw what it looked like in Other M, and I kind of think they got the scale of it wrong. It looks really small compared to what it does in this game.
It does look small, yeah.
It's kind of strange. There's a lot of similarities between the two games when you really think about it. You don't even kind of have to think about it. It kind of gets shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
I mean, this game did it better. So that's what
yeah.
we're playing. That's what we're playing right now.
Oh goodness, Pollsmor.
What is Pollsmor? He's just like, oh, come on, Pollsmor.
Oh my
Get
god, there's so much spaghetti.
There's like 3 mistakes in 1 second or something like that.
That's it. I think Scotty's gonna...
Scotty going for... Oh, okay, Scotty. All right. I guess. Nice, he got it.
Yeah, this one's definitely a more challenging setup than the one in Sector 2.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this is one where you kind of have to eyeball it a little bit. Like, you're kind of dependent on where the enemy is, and Scotty knows. But that looks... I'm sure that's difficult. But he got it. It's kind of cool, too. I'm sure it saves a good amount of time as well.
Yeah. Because you're saving, I want to say, 2 extra screen transitions, I think.
Mm-hmm. You also kind of you can just kind of run through the to the final room there, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Pollsmor doesn't know this one. I guess that's a little more tricky than the other one for sure.
Yeah. So we're going for classic strats.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there he goes.
I like doing the Shine Spike better for that room, personally. I think it's slow, but I just like having the ability to Shine Spike up the room that Pollsmor just went through, just because I don't trust my space jumping always.
Yeah, that's fair. Space jumping in this game is really wonky.
See, I should be better at space jumping than I actually am, I think, but it's just so wonky.
Yeah, and Pollsmor now going to be, both of them actually about to head back to Sector 6 and the Box 2 fight, which is a fight that we've seen claim quite a few people, and this is not me throwing anyone else under the bus. I'm already under the bus, so...
Oh, it's fine. You may as well place all of them in front of the bus. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but Box 2 is a fight that has killed all sorts of people. It's, and not just the box itself, but also the core. Wave core is no joke. And Pollsmor's health is a lot lower than he'd like it to be, I'm sure.
It's one of those bosses that can kind of snowball a little bit if you mess it up.
Yeah. There's so many things there's so many things in that fight you have to keep track of that will hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I trust these runners. They'll be fine.
Yeah, especially since there's also the big clump of blue X's along the way that if you just release the charge shot through the door, then they'll you can just grab them real easily.
Yep. It's kind of a... I often say that you really should never worry about health in this game because there's so many refills like at every key point. And even if there's no idol for this particular boss fight coming up, there's still that massive amounts of blue X's, so you almost get like a complete refill anyway.
Yeah. And I can't believe I never thought about shooting a diffusion missile to freeze those two puffers. Why have I never thought of that? Oh, Scotty accidentally losing the shine charge. I'm going to have to space jump up there.
What he was trying to do was, you don't have to stop to shoot that door like a lot of people do. You can just kind of keep running, but only if you fire a missile. The beam isn't fast enough. But it's like a really tight window. That's what he was going for, I think.
Okay. And Scotty not quite getting a clean kill here on box 2. But it's done.
It's pretty alright, right?
And Pollsmor's health is looking better after grabbing those blue X's. He should be fine unless he has takes too many tumbles into the water.
I mean, he even has 3 E-tanks. Honestly, he's more than fine. I mean, Scotty is super duper safe with 4, but even 3, I think, is considered kind of excessive now, unless you're, I guess, in a race situation. Like I guess 3 used to be the standard, but you really don't need more than. Like I guess you only need like 1, but 2 is, I think, the best right now, since we have a bit of a. We have some more suicidal strats for some particular bosses. Oh, Pollsmor got hit by a spray missile there.
Oh man, yeah, that was Box is just not playing nice right now.
Right.
Okay, you got it.
I've complained about getting hit by that stray missile a lot.
He's taking it safe for the 4th hit. I can't blame him.
No, it's pretty alright. Good job, Pollsmor, not dying.
Yeah. Yes, setting up for the sweet spot, there's a pretty good chance you'll get hit, so I can't say I blame him for taking that last shot safe.
Alright, text dunk coming up.
I hope y'all like lore.
I love lore. It's my #1 reason for sticking with the Metroid games. I'm just kidding, of course. There is a lot of lore, apparently, though. Like, I mainly stream Zero Mission and Fusion, and I've noticed that whenever I stream Fusion, there is considerably more lore discussion than like when I play Zero Mission. And like, of course, it's because the game has a lot of lore, but it's also it leaves a lot of things unanswered right now. It's the last game chronologically, so there's a lot to discuss. Even I guess it's 16 years ago the game was released, roughly, a little more than that.
Yeah, it was 2002.
That's a lot to discuss, and Nintendo still hasn't followed up on it.
They have not. I almost get the feeling like they're afraid to do more with Fusion Samus, and just whatever happens here, they're definitely
afraid. Can't argue with that. Alright, Scotty looking pretty good for this section of the game.
Gotta deal with these gold pirates.
Interesting. I think he messed up a little bit. Just a little bit. I said this the last time I commented, well, but I guess with diagonal on the yellow pirates now. See, back in my day, we just turned it around.
Yeah, I think that's what I still see most people just do that. But I mean, the diagonal does give you more frames of contact. So
Scotty finishing off in style, only getting 1 beam. Only getting 0 beams rather. Not getting a single beam on this final door, and going into the screaming Ridley flare.
Yeah, speaking of diagonals, Ridley is really upset that everyone knows about square hitboxes and diagonals, and he's just letting everyone know how unhappy he is about it.
Square hitboxes are a thing, for sure. I think the core X's are squares too, as I remember. That's why sometimes you'll see these really strange doubles where they're like kind of hitting the very, very corner of a circle. That doesn't even make sense.
Yep. My understanding was always that double missiles on the cores only work because the hitboxes are square.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess they could potentially overlap like completely and it'd still work. But yeah, the reason we can do it so easily is definitely because it's a square hitbox.
Pollsmor actually got 1 beam, and now it's his turn to have some fun with Space Lizard.
You can tell Pollsmor is an old runner because he places a bomb in Ridley's eye. That was the thing for the longest time.
The validation bomb, pretty much.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you all can't hear it, but this is very much one of those reblog if you can hear this image situations here.
I saw that, and I totally thought of Ridley when I saw that in the name. I think someone ended up doing it too, but I might have missed it.
They did, but I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was that. If it was a Fusion runner, it's not. It's someone whose Twitter handle is not at all what their name is.
Makes complete sense.
Pollsmor got 2 doubles there, it looked like, which is pretty sharp.
It's pretty good for this point in the game, yes.
Oh yeah.
Probably the hardest doubles.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the ice doubles is that the timing is equally difficult, but the setup is a lot more consistent.
Mm-hmm. It's time.
Yep. Ah, gosh, I didn't bring it. Oh, I have a pillow right here. I'm just gonna grab it. I'm gonna fluff it.
See, I bought a new chair recently. I think that was definitely anticipating having to sit through 2 grand finals worth of text.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, I moved my comfy chair down for this. Have that, got my pillow. I'm just nice and relaxed here, just having a good time, just enjoying the lore.
Yep. So someone said there's about a minute difference right now. I don't think realistically there's any way that Pollsmor can catch up. So what we're gonna have to, we've said this a couple of times throughout the race, but I guess we'll do a quick recap here. This is Grand Finals, the Grand Finals of the Fusion Indie 2018 tournament, and Pollsmor is in the winners bracket. We're doing a double elimination bracket. Pollsmor is in winners and Scotty is in losers. So if he wins this, and they're at 1-1, and we'll have to do another match to determine who is going to be the winner. That match is not going to be today because the runners have things to do afterwards. But from what I understood, they have it. They've scheduled it for the next weekend, basically. So on Saturday, around the same time, we'll see the final match of this tournament. Assuming that like Scotty doesn't do something ruinous at this point.
Right, like I don't know, maybe he figures out some way to actually get quintuple swiped out of nowhere by the Omega, and then just I've never seen that. That's never happened before.
Well, there was this one guy that apparently runs Fusion a lot, and he was so far ahead of everyone. It was basically, well, it was the stuff of fairy tales. The lowest seeded participant in one of the tournaments ended up beating the most powerful, oppressive. You get the idea. The strongest runner in one of the very first matches. So there's a precedent for bad things happening throughout the final minutes.
Yeah, no, Fusion is definitely it's definitely a game that tends itself to surprises.
Lots of surprises. Though honestly, I mean, Scotty has 4 E-tanks, so I can't possibly see him messing up that badly.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that from me. I've seen me do it, but Scotty is much better at this game than I am, so...
I've seen runners do it. I've seen runners die in like 100% run at the very end, despite the fact that 100% runner is going to have like 20 E-tanks or something really ridiculous. I think this is the Metroid game that has by far the largest amount of E-tanks.
Yeah, it is.
But the bosses here at the end hit like a truck, and I guess if you panic, you're gonna get hit a lot, and you're gonna lose several E-tanks for every hit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where 100% is your first category. Having all that health does have a tendency to make you play a little. You get a little bit sloppy, not because you're bad, but just because you can afford to be.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like I did 100% run on a whim after doing a lot of any percent, and it just my end game I got so many gold splits from just not being sloppy. It was just kind of funny.
Yep, it's the beauty of starting a new category or being somewhat new to a category. You're just gonna see all those gold splits and green splits everywhere.
Yeah, and Scotty just having a little bit trouble in phase 1, but getting the triple doubles on the ice core. He's in excellent shape here.
Good to go.
But no, that's one of the things I actually like about Fusion, just the fact that the categories are all so different. Even categories that are similar, like any percent normal, any percent easy, there are enough differences that it's just kind of interesting to see how playing one affects your play in the other.
Well, there's enough differences for me to advocate playing easy mode all the time. It's the only thing.
Well, I've never tried it. Maybe once I clear up my speedrunning backlog, I'll come back and pick that one up.
I honestly just think it's like vastly superior to normal, just because it's like 95% the same, just minus RNG and some minor boss differences. That's like the main thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet run, if only for the fact that I've raged so much when I play Metroid Fusion just because of the massive amount of RNG involved in a lot of runs. And I don't think I've ever done that for easy mode, just because it's not there for the most part. It's like one really bad RNG boss still, but other than that, it's just gone. It's pretty good. Nice. Pollsmor got the triple double there at the end. I think Scotty got it too.
Yeah, they both did.
That's how to finish in style.
Yeah, that's honestly the takeaway here. I mean, this ended up being a bit further apart than we were expecting, but these are both top-notch runners. I mean, they're pulling off difficult strats, and they're just. But
Scotty's used to playing on English too, which might help him a little bit. But Pollsmor has a fighting chance. He just needs to not crumple in a few spots like he ended up doing in this particular race.
Yeah, I mean, he and Scotty is now joining us because he has done with an official SRL time of 1:16:04.
Congrats, Scotty. How lucky did you get, would you say?
I got very lucky.
That's what I was thinking.
I've got a lot of zero beams. Pretty nice.
I want to say the real reason Pollsmor lost here is not because of RNG. I'm not sure how closely you were following, but there were definitely times where he crumbled. Absolutely, he still has a pretty good time to show for himself. But overall, it ended up being, I think, the usual Pollsmor is in grand finals state of mind, in that he kind of crumbles a little bit sometimes. But he gets another shot at you because this time around he's actually in the winner's side of the bracket. Do you feel confident you can beat him a second time?
I think so, yeah.
Alright. So what we actually have here is Scotty thinking he can win. What is Pollsmor doing except just playing around, I guess?
Oh,
What the heck, Pollsmor?
I think he tried to go for set up pogo.
Or no, for the arrow mega floating.
Yeah,
I mean, he died, but it doesn't really make a difference at this point. He had already.
Yeah.
And he already proved he was gonna get an okay time. What we're gonna end up doing here is that you may as well confirm this with me, Scotty. You're doing the grand finals match on Saturday?
Most likely Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday or Sunday. You heard it here, people. You have to set the entire weekend off if you want to see this.
Set it all off. It's a big event.
A dispute of the grand finals, part 2.
The absolute final race. Nothing comes after.
I mean, that's the best finales, right? The two-parters.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's like a TV show with a series finale. You're gonna end your TV show on a one-parter? Heck no. You're ending on a two-parter with this enormous climax, and that's what we're doing here.
I just hope we won't see. We need a nickname for this Pollsmor. The one that crumbles in grand finals. Anyway, I'm sure he can do better, and I hope he will next time.
Absolutely, because we've seen what Pollsmor is capable of. He's just something like clicked off in his head and just wasn't playing the way we know he can. So we're hoping he can find that for next time.
Someone said, "What if we get a perfect tie next time?" Do you feel like sharing your trophy, Scotty?
Yeah, I have tied once before.
It's true, you have. But in reality, from
In
what I
reality,
remember,
no, I'm not sharing.
what I remember in the rules is that you just have to replay it.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Mm-hmm. So technically, it could just go on forever. You could just tie time.
Yeah, but it's still, we go by SRL times. I mean, they've got a tie at the 100th of a second, which is not likely.
Well, it's happened before, supposedly.
Oh, yes.
I actually think I ended up tying someone in the SRL channel as well once. I don't think it was Fusion, but I feel like I definitely tied someone before, and I think it was Sam. Oh man, why is Sam not in this? That would have been beautiful.
Dang.
What are you doing, Scotty?
I'm not doing anything.
Now let's see, clear time.
Are you just looking at Pollsmor?
The casual 45. just gets the race 45.
I was really curious about whether that would be 45 or 46.
For those of you watching from
that was
home,
really borderline.
yeah, for those of you watching from home, a clear time of 45 is tied with the world record, so that is an exceedingly good time.
It's pretty good, Scotty.
It's a high 45, but it's still a 45.
45, 58, 50. Yeah, that's pretty close.
I guess my text was just worse than last time.
It's
No, I did hit a navigation pad.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was quality.
That was pretty good, Scotty. There were many laughs to be had. Alright, well, I think that's about it for today. Unfortunately, you're not going to get Game 2 today, but, you know, it'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah. Oh, Pollsmor trying that box strat there.
I think Pollsmor is just going to keep playing and playing and playing until next weekend. And then he'll be in top shape, and then he'll finally break the curse.
Nice joke.
I'm counting on it.
We know he's not gonna practice.
Well, we were actually talking about that during the race. He says that, but then he goes and gets a monster PB like the race immediately after saying it. So I'm not sure I trust him anymore, Scotty. I'm not sure I'm not sure we can trust the words of Pollsmor.
Not to mention he got the Sector 2 ice clip, which as far as we knew he had no reason to be practicing unless he's
practicing. What's that about, Pollsmor, huh? Never practices? I call bull. Well, anyway, we'll see next week.
So it's definitely a little bit of mystery, a little bit of intrigue. Not sure what to expect next weekend, but it's gonna be good no matter what it is.
Right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the first grand finals. I'll see if I can come back on commentary, and if I don't, then I'm sure we'll have capable people standing in. It's the same people running though. You're gonna see more top runner action from Scotty and Pollsmor.
Most definitely, you do not want to miss that one.
You should end with a double 45, Scotty. I think that's the only real.
That's gonna be hard.
Well,
I've already gotten 2 in this tournament. So,
well, gotta go for the 3-peat then.
I don't know how easy it's gonna be to get a 3rd.
You say that, and then it'll end up happening.
I hope you're right.
All right. I think that's all we had. So thanks to everyone we're on Speed Gaming 1.
Yes, which means
the OG Speed Gaming. Thanks to everyone sitting in the channel and watching this great tournament. You should come back next weekend, whenever it is. I'm sure there'll be some kind of preemptive warning on when people decided to run the second part of Grand Finals here. Oh, he's playing the wrong one now. But anyway, thanks for watching. I think I'll leave here, and congrats to Scotty for winning the first part here.
Thank you.
Hope he can show a similar strong run next week.
Yeah, GG to Scotty, and GG to Pollsmor, even though that didn't quite end as expected. But before I sign off, I'm just going to let you know, you want to stick around on this channel at 6 p.m. There's a link to the past rando, and also on Speed Gaming 3. But if you want to watch Speed Gaming 2, they have A Hat in Time, which is I didn't even know we were doing a tournament on that. So that's a more newer, popular speed game, I think. And also Mario Odyssey, running both on Speed Gaming 5 and about to start on Speed Gaming 4. So there's plenty of good stuff going on. And it's even Mario Sunshine later on, if that's your bag. So plenty of things to watch. But like we said, come back next weekend for the second match of the grand finals. You're not going to want to miss that one. I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to be here, that's for sure. But thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.